All right. Hello, everyone. I think we're live. I hope we're live. But yeah, just in any case, welcome back to Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli, co-host of this show. We are coming to you live, Live, live from from my room, not anywhere, not anywhere other than my room. I don't know why I said live like that, but anyway, we're live because you're watching this, or maybe you're watching this on the replay. Either way, Skeleton Crew episodes 1 and 2 premiered just over 2 hours ago. The episodes I have right here called "This Could Be a Real Adventure" and "Way, Way Out Past the Barrier." A lot of fun. These episodes, if you want to look at my short review, in which I said I would be getting into more of a longer review here, we have the Ouroboros working like that. If you want to listen to that, and I just realized I didn't plug in my microphone. God damn it! Wow, I'm a professional, people. We are doing this. We're doing this in such a professional and hardcore way. Um, all right. Riveting television, I know. Anyway, so we are so we're going live after episodes 1 and 2 of season 1, because I hope this is going to be continued. Just like the Acolyte hashtag, renew the Acolyte. Either way, of Skeleton Crew. And I said this on Blue Sky, as I mentioned before. I really like these. I really like the adventure. I really like the um I really like I was watching Alex Damon's Star Wars Explains review, and I loved what he said about the nostalgia that we get, but not of the but not of the references, not of the in-universe stuff. Although we do get a few of those, I believe Aldani. There's another Star Wars planet mentioned in there that I caught in the beginning of episode 2 that I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I'm forgetting about it right now. But the vibe, the feel of it, the feel of, don't you just want to get out in here and have your own adventures? The George telling his father, I don't want to work at your shop. I want to make movies. You're not going into the damn movie business. If you want, I believe, where's George listed that? I'm trying to remember exactly where George has talked about that. I think it was in some biography of his or something like that. But of course, there was a lot that was a lot of George, and that was behind American Graffiti, and absolutely that was behind A New Hope. This feels like Star Wars by fans, and I mean that in the best way. I really think, and these kids, man, these kids, we need to protect these kids. The internet, as we've all discovered, can be a horrible place for people who have been involved in creating Star Wars. These kids are all precious, and we need to protect them from these grifters who, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure will go after them. But Ravi Kavik Conyers, Ryan Kiera Armstrong, Robert Timothy Smith, and Kyriana Crater, all great. They're all just great. They're all wonderful in these first 2 episodes. They exude personality. They like it's very much like there is a point where you feel like, oh, there are kid actors in a thing. I never felt that here. These are actors. These are people who take themselves and their craft seriously, while also, I'm assuming, trying not to freak out every 2 seconds that they're on a Star Wars set. I mean, you would I would have a hard time keeping a straight face, and yet they're totally in it in all the moments. Before I say any more, though, I am going to put the StreamYard link for this live in the chat. I'm going to cycle through some people bring on some hopeful friends of the show. I sent this out to a few friends of mine, hoping that people will join and share their thoughts on Skeleton Crew. But if not, I'll just continue rambling and sharing my thoughts. But yeah, here is the streamer link down in the description. The StreamYard link is actually going to be a permanent StreamYard link for all of the Skeleton Crew after shows. I like to think I'm kind of picking this up from our friends at the Nerd Academy podcast. Jared was not. Jared's a little busier right now, and he's not feeling like he has the time to do these after shows. So I wanted somebody to do them. So I Thanos and said, fine, I'll do it myself. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed these. I want to start at the very beginning. I really do love, and I kind of want this to retroactively apply to series like Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian. I love that crawls are back and in full swing. You know, I feel like Dave has done it, Leslie's done it, Watts and Ford have done it. I think it's just time for everybody to do it. Like, I don't care. This is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away has become our equivalent of Once Upon a Time. And I really, really like these calls. I went back to the episode. Normally I don't rewatch unless I want to like catch something or if I'm on a show or anything like that. But I did go back on Disney Plus. I wrote down this call because I thought it was fantastic. Since the fall of the Empire, the New Republic has maintained order. And yet, remote hyperspace routes are increasingly plagued by piracy. These pirates boldly brand their armored hulls as a sign to all ships, surrender or die. Which is so pulpy and so, like, it takes itself so seriously. And yet, like, there are these... This show goes into what I call like the weird and wonderful part of Star Wars. Everybody has their way of referring to it, the pulpiness, whatever you want to call it. And of course, this is not the first show to do that. The Mandalorian did that in spades. Book of Boba Fett did that in spades. The Acolyte did that in spades. But I really love that this show is doing it for the sole purpose of doing it. Like, The Mandalorian and The Acolyte and the Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka and even Andor at times, although Andor didn't do this as much, had that stuff in the background so you knew the galaxy we were in. This being the galaxy that we are in is the point of this series, and I really appreciate that. I think there's like Wim and Neil having those lightsaber duels, those fake lightsaber duels. I definitely had when I was a kid. That's the thing that that's the thing for me. Like, I've already seen some people like at least all in good humor kind of finding Wim a little bit annoying, and I'm like, I cannot find this kid annoying because I was this kid. Because I was the I don't think I was a typically rebellious kid, but to get out there, to have those adventures, to see what's out there for yourself, to, make your place in the world. I think that's just a universal theme. And I think it's and very much I was rooting for Wim to get out there and have that adventure. And I'm excited. I think it's already happening. I'm excited to see Neil and Fern and KB come around to that. I think that's going to be a really exciting development. I thought that more of them were going to be I thought more of them were going to be into it. To address the comment here, I'm just saying it is a kid show and it's not a kid show. And I'm watching it because it's Star Wars. That's the simple truth is I'm watching it because it's Star Wars and I like Star Wars. Yeah, no, I really appreciate this I'm trying to think like very much like all's coming down in a rush for me right now. Yeah, I'm trying to think where I want to go next in terms of this show. I talked about a lot of the broad overview of the show. I'm trying to think what am I going to talk about next? Yeah, so I'll talk about the first scene. So we have the first scene. We have Captain Slero. I agree. By the way, the music was amazing. Shout out to Mick Giacchino. The apple clearly does not fall far from the tree in that one. Um, uh, it's a anyway. All right. So the what was I gonna say? Shit, I'm losing all track of what I was saying because I was dealing with something in the comments. But anyway, point being, yeah. So Clapton Slero, Silvo is what it is. Slero. I was playing Outlaws for the first time a few weeks ago. I'm sure I got that name mixed up in my head. Silvo was leading those pirates to a great haul. I'm still hoping we get Hondo Onaka in this series. I really am. I'm still hoping we get Hondo Onaka in the series. I'm going on permanent Hondo watch for this series. And he leads them to a vault full of, oh no, there ain't no credits. There's no credits in there. Damn. If only it were that simple, because the other pirates mutiny on him, because of course he brought them to a single credit, which I thought was very fun. I was like desperately searching the screen. I'm like, am I supposed to be seeing the credits? I don't see the credits. Yeah, so that was weird. But then of course you see the single one on the ground, and it's revealed that he got a bust. One of the things I love is the Wolfman guy who replaces him and becomes the head of the pirate crew. I was talking with friend of the show, Jared the Dark Jedi, about this earlier. His name is Brutus. We knew it was Brutus from the start. And if you're at all familiar with Roman history, which I think I'm more familiar with than the average person, but not overly familiar with, I don't think it's that much of a stretch to talk about the irony of another Brutus betraying their commander, the second in command, betraying the higher et tu Brutus. This question, your pal Joe, do you think the guy in the helmet in the beginning is Jod? I do. I do think the guy in the helmet in the beginning was Jod. I was a little surprised in that beginning, in the beginning of that scene, that like there wasn't a reveal, like lift up the helmet, we see it's Jod. Apparently, I think that's probably something they want to do later on. But I do think the guy in the helmet is beginning is Jod. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that the guy in the helmet at the beginning wasn't Jod. I'm totally like upset, but I do think the guy in the helmet in the beginning was Jod. I think that Silva was one of his many names. That's something that Jude Law has talked about, and that Watts and Ford have talked about, is that this character has many names, this guy's gone through a lot. Whoever he is, whatever intentions he has, this man has gone through a lot. But we don't even get to Jod until the end of the second episode, which I thought was a very bold choice, considering that Jude is the first build of this series. We spend the majority of episode one, the entirety of episode one, I should say, on Ad, which is a planet which is a planet that I was unsure about the name. I know a lot of people were unsure about the background. I know a lot of people were uncertain about the aesthetic of the planet, seeming more real world like and all that kind of stuff. And I was never like, I was never a huge person to be like, oh, I hate this and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't like, I didn't, yeah, I didn't have any problem with the and seeming more like Earth, seeming more terrestrial, seeming more like what we know. I think that is the point, of course. I think that is the point. Watson Ford have very much talked about, we're talking about the ET energy, the Goonies energy, of going from your safe, home, where everything is fine, but there's no excitement, to going to the big wide galaxy beyond, and seeing seeing all that's out there. And I think there's a lot that's that's fun about that. I think one of the reasons I'm coming up like so short right now is because this is very much a beginning. I'm so excited to see the developments we will get episode by episode. I will say we got 2 new directors to the Star Wars fold, John Watts and David Lowery, who I very much enjoyed their direction. I thought that their direction was a lot of very much, they had a lot of continuity. I think I like that. I appreciate that David Lowery is getting a another episode, because I want to see a bit more of his, like, how he directs and stuff like that. I'm not familiar with the Peter Pan movie he did, or the Green Knight. So yeah. Hey Buck, no problem, buddy. But yeah, this is interesting. Mall, like, that's an interesting idea. I think that I'm trying to like cycle back to when we saw Jod. Yeah, I don't know what it is, like, very much. I remember like it was so long ago. I remember specifically when he started levitating the key with the Force. I said to myself, "Oh, come on, where's the Force theme?" And the second after I said, "Where's the Force theme?" I heard it, and I'm like, "Okay, there we go." So there's been a lot of questions. There's been a lot of questions about who John Nanawood is. I mean, God, I love that name. I just love the name John Nanawood. I think it's fantastic. I love, and I think that Jude Law. I think that Jude Law was a good choice. I think that Jude Law was a good choice, and I think that he can, Watson Ford talked about how Jude was almost a second director on the show. And I think we're going to have some great interactions between him and the kids very soon. Of course, along with SM-33. The fact that they need a pirate droid Smee is still very funny to me. People are talking up a storm about that. I'm trying to think of like other topics that people that I've seen people bring up. But Smee was great. SM-33, or how he's called, was great. Nick Frost, I thought did a great job. But there's this mystery that I was very intrigued about, and they have me even more intrigued about now. What the hell is going on at Atten? What's going on? It seems awfully guarded by a lot of security droids.
who apparently are the only ones who maintain order throughout the planet, because when Wim says what he wants to be in the basically career day, that Carrie Condon's character, Fern's mother, I'm forgetting the name of that character right now, comes in. Of course, he's like, I want to like protect people, and Neil teases him about it. You basically want to be a Jedi. It is the El Dorado of planets, but that's the thing, is that for an El Dorado, you'd think nobody would have found it yet, except for everybody's found it. But they're hiding something. I'm 100% sure. I mean, obviously, they're hiding something. Something's being hidden. There's some reason that the government or whoever is controlling the interests of Manhattan doesn't want people to go up beyond the barrier, which is not ominous or foreboding sounding at all. And you know why there's such this investment in the great work, which I found out. It's not that I found out this. I think I knew this already, and then I was reminded by author Charles Soule, one of the greatest Star Wars authors, in my opinion, of our time. This does connect back to the High Republic. My personal theory about AT-AT right now is that they saw which way the wind was blowing. They somehow, or maybe they did this just right in 19 BBY, and I understand that at this point was like only 30 years ago, but screw it, this is my theory. That they saw the Empire forming, and they were like, no, we don't want to be any part of that. And so they shut down. They just shut the hell down. And just like it only took, a few decades for Luke Skywalker to be a myth to Rey on Jakku in The Force Awakens, the planet's been lost to time. Manhattan's been lost to time. Nobody's allowed to leave out of there. There are no spaceships permitted on the planet, as we've seen. And that's my current guess, is that they just noped their way out of becoming another planet under Imperial occupation. And of course, that would preclude them from knowing that the Empire was defeated, and somebody erased it from the Jedi archives. That would preclude them from knowing that the Empire was defeated and the New Republic now stands. Well, it does. The New Republic has maintained order, and yet remote hyperspace routes are increasingly plagued by piracy. I saw somebody say something like about the New Republic sucking at their job, and I think that is an over-exaggeration, but I understand where they're coming from. The New Republic does not have a handle on this, although I never thought the Galactic Republic had a handle on the Outer Rim, and the Empire only had a little bit of a handle. I think the point of Star Wars these days is that the Outer Rim is, to a certain point, ungovernable, at least to the point we've seen so far. I love Sharmino Bid-Chinoy's new Jedi Order film and future stuff to prove me wrong about that, but there's always going to be crime in the galaxy far, far away. There's always going to be that, and I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying that the New Republic is the most effective thing ever. Clearly not, because they have a lot of flaws. Although I do have a bit more confidence in at least the intent from Ahsoka, because Mon is clearly Chancellor Mothma sees the flaws in the New Republic and its systems as much as Hera does. I feel like in Ahsoka, and I wish that she hey Eric, do I wish that she had not made the decision to demilitarize? Yes, I do. I think the demilitarization, unfortunately, was the wrong decision. And I think that was like the 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 infancy of how the Empire was able to rise again as the First Order and do as well as it did is in my opinion from the complaints and see happen because of demilitarization. And yeah, so I'm so glad we have a guest on the show, guest on the Nerd Academy podcast stream after shows with me. Yeah, Eric, how you doing, buddy?
Got the Honest to Claude merch. That's my show for anyone that wants to know. I just had M from formerly guest host for Pink Milk.
No, Sisters with Sabers, yeah. Yeah, no. So what did you think about these first two?
I thought they were a lot of fun. It was what I was expecting. I was like, expecting the Goonies, the Amberlin vibe. Expecting, some fun with these children and some mystery, pirate themes. And I got all that.
Yeah.
And I can't be upset at that.
Yeah, I think that you're running into a lot of the same things as I am, and please tell me if I'm wrong about this. Which is like, and I saw somebody saying this on Blue Sky, which is like, we seen these two episodes in the trailer, like we know a lot of what was going to happen in these two episodes. Of course, it's the next 6 that we're interested in. It's where do we go from here? It's how does this journey resolve? But we knew more or less how this journey began.
Yeah, I think most of us went in. Most of us, non-regs, obsessive Star Wars fans, are like, okay, either they find a spaceship, or they find a Jedi temple that they meet, the character I don't know his name yet, but the supposed Jedi. Like we knew it was going to lead to that. We knew they're going to lead to like a pirate, haven, because we saw that in the trailer. Like we knew we were going to see Space Urkel. Like we know all the steps basically, roughly. But yeah, I think we're going to more territory that most of us are now like, well, what are they going to do? Like we assume that it's going to happen. It's going to end like happy for the kids. They're going to end up home, but the journey is what we're really here for.
Yeah, and of course we've gotten a few seconds of clips here and there from the next 6 episodes, but far from enough to get something conclusive about where we are going with this. I'm very excited to see now that, of course, they've met up with Jod. Like, now we can have a bit more of sort of a classic, to use a Star Wars comparison, Mandalorian-esque episodic feel for the next few episodes, where they're jumping around from place to place, exploring the galaxy like Wim always wanted to. And yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with this show. Again, there's my problem with discussing these episodes is like, yeah, we got it. Great beginning. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I want to make that clear to everyone that I did not have a problem with these 2 episodes in general. But like, of course, we need to see how they fit into the larger picture. We need to see what happens next to understand these things. I will throw this to you then, because this is the thing I was talking about when you popped in the StreamYard. What do you think's happening on Anaheim?
So we know that most of the galaxy thinks that it's this hidden treasure. It's like a legend. It's mysterious. It's something they don't understand. So I think, the reason that ship was there is because it was lost in the pursuit of like this great treasure. It's kind of like the the secret city of gold and European folklore about Mesoamerica.
Yeah.
Like it's something that is like, oh, we hear that it's so fantastical and we have to go there, and everyone that's tried to go there gets lost. So I think this was like it just the one that was closest to the literal surface of the children could obtain to. So I'm starting to think that this ship is like hundreds of years old.
Yeah, that's the other question is how long's the ship been there? Yeah, and it's especially interesting because SM-33 or SME or whatever we're decided to call him, obviously he didn't have the planet of Aten in his databanks, despite the fact, of course, that he crashed there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's of course another part of this is not only why does nobody know about Aten, is what happened to this ship?
Maybe it was a renamed place, like over time. Like back when that ship landed, it had a different name.
Called something else. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's interesting. And like and I'm very interested to see exactly what this great work is as well. This is the first time that was the big like revelation I feel like I got from the first episode is, well, they're all what the goal is this great work. What does the great work mean? Who's to say? But
like even if you like, we have examples of this where like there's names that places used to have that just don't register unless if you are like into history. Like what is that? Central Park. You know what the original name of it was, right?
I actually don't know. What was it?
Seneca Falls.
Oh yeah, okay. I've heard that name. I didn't know that was the original name of it, but yeah.
Yeah, Seneca Falls used to be almost entirely black neighborhood, and like racists like moved them out forcibly, and so they can make way for a park for the white inhabitants to come through. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay, yeah. No, unfortunately makes sense. Yeah. I'm interested to see exactly because I remember Alex Damon was saying on, I think it was his video of like what you need to know before watching Skeleton Crew. I think he was speculating about because that Aten had been the quote unquote jewel of the old Republic, as we've heard in interviews, of it being, I believe it was a planet called Tyon. In the old EU, that it was being recanonized, and whether that's the case, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the idea of this was a central part of the old Republic that's been lost to time, and for some reason, refugees or people or a certain group of people for whatever reason decided to do what they did and build this whole idyllic society or idyllic seeming society there. I think those are all interesting ideas. Like I'm flashing back to the M. Night Shyamalan film, The Village, which I'm about to spoil the entire movie. So though it's like
it's been out for quite a minute.
I was gonna say it's been 20 years. So like, but when they learned at the end that this was this grand experiment by all of these history professors, to try and just like live in the woods and build up their own mythology about the monsters that don't exist and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm starting to wonder, like. And that's the other thing is that I don't know. Well, I know the actor is Tunde Abembe. I don't know what his character's name is. I forget what his character's name is. I feel like it's like Wendell or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about the father? Yeah, Wendell is the father.
Okay, yeah. So Wendell, and then I also forget what Carrie Condon's character's name is. By the way, They don't seem.
We have. Are you talking about the kids?
No, I'm talking about the mother of Fern's mother.
Oh,
who works for the government.
Yeah. Okay. I know it's not right, but I just remember her as superintendent. That's how I list her in my brain.
Farah.
Like I don't remember her.
I got it. I just looked it up. It's Farah. So
Farah.
And then
in a galaxy far away.
Yeah. So Wendell and Farah. The interesting thing about the two of them is they don't seem to think anything's wrong. Like, my other question is like, okay, how far up does this go? Like, who do they know what kind of planet they're living on?
I think
to what extent?
Fern talking about the mines and her grandfather might have some truth.
Well, so I thought that was all. I thought that was all like, because I was starting to like, like when she talked about her grandfather in the mines, I'm like, oh, okay, leaning in. And then she used it to prank Lim. I'm like, okay, so how much of that is real and how much of that is bullshitting? Is her bullshitting?
You know, it's funny. I don't think she truly believes it, but like I think like there is some validity to it. Like I think it's just something her grandpa was going on off about, and he's just like, oh, old man's just saying weird things.
Yeah, and it very much, and I love how Ryan Kerr Armstrong played this. It very much gave the vibe of like kids sharing gossip that is 100% like misheard or misremembered in some sort of way. Well, it reminded me like of the urban myth of like, oh well, if the teacher isn't here for 15 minutes, we don't have class. Where did you hear that? Oh, you know, just that's the rules, right? And that sort of like kind of urban mythology that like spreads around kids often in school and stuff like that, where it's like well I heard and like
it's like people getting the Wade Boggs story, like the details, getting it confused with like how many beers he drank on that flight and did the home run hit.
Yeah. No, I'm very very interested to see how this develops from here on out. I'm trying to think of where I want to go next in the. Do you have anywhere you want to go for the two of these?
What do you mean, just like further in the show?
Yeah, for the discussion that we haven't gotten to yet.
There's a possibility that the kids could ingratiate themselves a little bit with the pirates, and I think maybe they'll have.
Yeah.
But I think there might be a split between the pirates. Like I think there might be like a mutiny or like a little civil war in between them, and like they had to be extracted because it gets a little too violent, and like that's where like their dad and like the security officers have to come in.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting idea. I think that I think that obviously we're definitely going to see more of these pirates. And I really like I
pay too much for those costumes to not reuse them.
No, absolutely. I was very pleasantly surprised that the first scene was of the pirates. I totally thought we were going to start with the kids. But to start with the pirates very much to me establishes, well, okay, yes, this is the show. This is a story about these kids, of course, and that's what this is primarily about.
Was it Silvo? His helmet is shaped like a tri-quarters pirate hat. Top of his helmet.
I was thinking it looked a little bit to like the most direct, at least Star Wars comparison I made to it was it looked like hats that Cuzos wear, like Embo species.
Okay, all right.
Like Constable Zuvio.
Yeah.
In Force Awakens. I'm like, I feel like I recognize that helmet from somewhere, although it's like, I feel like it's going to be one of those things like with Neil, where like, well, it's not he's not an Ortolan. He's just the species that looks exactly like an Ortolan, except for in these few ways. Which I'm still waiting to hear that.
Well, I mean, his fingers definitely look more human-like.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
He looks more like Raj from Camp Lazlo than like Max Rebo does.
Yeah, although like, yeah,
I'm sure. I don't think you would ever expect there would be a Camp Lazlo reference on your show, but here you go.
Yeah, no, here we are. I'm now just thinking. Speaking of things I didn't expect, I'm now just thinking about the scene where Lim sees him in the bathtub. 100% things on the bingo card. Of things I didn't think I was going to be seeing.
It made me jump a bit. I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on?
The fact that we have a bathtub. Well, what we now have, because we have bathtub, we have sinks in multiple Star Wars. I know what sinks appear multiple times in Rebels.
I mean, I remember people were freaking out when we saw a toilet in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I remember the toilet, or like the implied toilet at least, in Rebels first.
Okay.
What
was it? We got a coffee maker in Andor. We got socks. Remember, people freaked out about seeing socks on Tim Carlo. That was weird.
I don't remember. Yeah, no, just all of these real world oddities just always delight me. Yeah, at this point, like, and I said this earlier in the show, there's this much chaos and drama with pirates. Come on, put Jim Cummings in there. Yeah, let's get Hondo in there. Let's do this. Like,
Jim Cummings? Is he the voice actor for Hondo?
Yeah, he's the voice actor for Hondo.
Okay, all right.
Everything, yeah.
I'm not too good on remember. Like, I can remember a lot of the main actors for.
Yeah, Jim Cummings is Hondo and everything. I like the and of course we know he survives till the sequels because he's in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, right.
So not only can we use him in this show, we can use him in this show and guarantee that he will get out alive, if not unscathed. But the great Hondo Ohnaka always survives.
This might be controversial, but I don't want Hondo there. And the reason is because I feel like he's going to take away too much of the thunder. Like, I'm not going to be able to concentrate on anything else.
That's fair. That's fair. That is fair. That, like, yeah, I can totally.
It will be like it's like you have like a middle school talent show fair, and all of a sudden they allow like Eminem to perform. I'm just like,
yeah, no, I can.
What the kids are doing.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, they'd have to be tasteful about how they used Hondo. But like, at least for me, and this is not really about wanting Hondo as much as just expecting Hondo. We're very much like, just because I assume, like, from seeing it as much Star Wars as this man has done, like, I feel like Dave Filoni heard pirates and is like, got you covered.
I think it'll be a fun tease, like the end of the show. I think they could do that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, oh, who was behind the chair? Who was the one that was manipulating everything? It was me.
It was Hondo. They do an Agatha reveal for Hondo.
Yes, it was Hondo all along.
It was Hondo all along. That's so silly and so, like, I mean this in an affectionate way. That's so dumb, but like, yeah, I could totally see them doing that. Or like even like Hondo watching from like a post-credit scene of like Hondo watching from the sidelines being like, damn, I could have made so much money. I was too risk averse. I could have made so much money off of this. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was a nice little reference at the beginning, because I'm always on the lookout for those juicy little Easter eggs. I'm trying to. You remember there was one planet that I remember. Oh, that's what it was. It was Adelon.
Mm-hmm.
Adelon, and
Aldana gets mentioned.
And Aldani, those two. Yeah, at the beginning when Smee is trying to figure out where At-Aten is, which I saw you start a group. Nice job. No, I'm just really interested, and of course, the big wrinkle in this whole thing with At-Aten is the Jedi. They clearly know about the Jedi, and that is like, and it seems like, although like Wim obviously idolizes the Jedi, the rest don't seem to care really, but it's not like a secret being kept, so they at least know about the Jedi. They have similar technology.
I'm gonna put this out there. I think the toys that Wim has were sold at the store. Like they're popular enough that they can sell toys of Jedi, like generic Jedi.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think that I imagine this series is actually going to be, probably merchandise-wise, the most successful series, the Star Wars series, since The Mandalorian.
No, I meant in universe.
Oh, yeah, that too. I was just thinking of all of the just inevitably of like, already I'm sure, like, just look up Neil merch. I'm sure that it's already out there.
Where's my Neil hot toy?
Did they do Funko Pops for all four of them? Because I think I might need a Neil Funko Pop. Oh my god. Google's creepy these days. I typed in Neil into Google, and the thumbnail was the Neil Funko Pop. I think it is reading my thoughts. That's creepy. But
I think you have an addiction.
I've not bought yeah, but anyway, yeah. So
if you type in the letter C into your search bar, and like comes up with cocaine, like I'm sure it's like I feel like I've been searching this a lot.
Yeah, no, yeah, no. So we I guess I'll pitch this to you as I start to wind down at least this part. I think this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream, just because of it's getting late for a lot of us. What do you think about the great works? Yeah, absolutely.
Is that episode 2?
No, I was thinking specifically. This is mentioned in episode 1. Like, what are you thinking about those great works that are mentioned by Farah? That seems to be like the project that everybody's working towards on At-Aten.
The career program for the New Republic.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's for the New Republic. That's the thing.
It's a little bit on the B half of it. Maybe it's not directly, but it's definitely in some kind of conjunction, kind of agreed upon kind of situation, I would say.
I'm not so sure, actually. I'm not sure they're aware of the New Republic, or if they are aware, that at least they're a part. Like, I think because I'm just so stuck on the fact that nobody's heard of this place, and or not nobody's heard of this place. That's the thing. And I think that's the trick, that because they put that on the StarWars.com page originally for the summary, and then they deleted it, and I can see why now. It's not that nobody's heard of this place. It's that everybody's heard of this place, and they don't believe it exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's that they don't believe it exists.
I think I'm still in the belief that they are under New Republic jurisdiction, but it's something that is intentionally kept from the public.
Oh, interesting. So it's a secret New Republic project.
Yes, and I think the
That's
mining
interesting.
and the treasure are all connected to it.
To the New Republic specifically. That's very interesting.
It's kind of similar to how most Americans, like from the late 1800s to 1940s, had no idea that technically the Philippines was part of the United States. They just didn't know. They're just completely
Yeah.
unaware. And I think
Yeah.
it's a similar situation to that.
Got it. So the New Republic is just working on this secret project for whatever reason,
Yes,
and they're keeping it for people from also other reasons.
like
I've heard.
one thing that made me think maybe this is New Republic is because Wim has to pay for lunch at a school,
Yeah.
and I'm like, in many ways, I think the storytelling behind the New Republic and how it fails is similar to the American Empire, where it's not strictly in like the power of control. It is the idea of like we'll just do things differently. We'll try to put best intentions, but we have so many nearsightedness, so many examples of where like we should be helping out the people, but we're not organized enough to do it. It is like a reflection of like knee-jerk neoliberalism, in my opinion, of like how they operate like sporadically across the galaxy.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to get like too armchair, psycho analyst, but I think because of that, I'm like, I wouldn't put it past it that this is the situation.
Yeah, and I will say that I'm coming around to the idea as a possibility just because, like, yeah, no one in the pirate world would know about that because I doubt the pirate world is paying that much attention to what the New Republic's doing.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm very interested in that. I'm also very interested. I was also just very interested in the that one woman who came up to KB and Fern at the end of the second episode.
Oh, the hooker?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the hooker. Let's get to it.
Which by the way, love this. Because you have to keep this for kids. Somebody translated the Orbesh. It says dance club. Very, very nicely done, Wattsford. Very nicely done. We see you. Yeah. The hooker who
no, dance at the two backs. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was just interested, like she was automatically looking out for the KB and Fern, or at least it looked like she was. And I'm very curious. Obviously, the elephant in the room later will be, of course, can they trust Jod? I'm of the opinion of sort of. They can sort of trust Jod.
I thought the elephant in the room was Neil. But when it comes to Jod, I'm on the fence with him because him talking to the kids, behind bars gave me heavy DJ vibes.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, I can see how that I can see that comparison immediately.
Like I feel like he could have freed himself at any point, but he was just waiting for a crew that he could exploit.
He was waiting. Yeah. And like how DJ like basically intentionally put himself in jail.
Yeah. Then like the rapper food
to escape the authorities. Yeah, no, I'm not sure about this guy. I've heard the theories. The theories are already going on. He's a former youngling. He's a this, he's a that, he's a former Padawan. He's whatever. I think it would be interesting I think it would be far more interesting for Jaw's character if he did not have a connection to the Jedi Order of old.
Yeah, like that's one
or at least a
thing.
direct connection.
Yeah, there's one thing about Star Wars canon, and I think it's true for both Legends and Disney canon, is there's such a heavy reliance on the one temple of Coruscant. I'm just like, can we have some other temples, like please, like where
Yeah.
people survive from them? I'm like,
Yeah.
like everyone is like pulled down by this one planet, this one temple.
And to give canon some credit, it's like made some minor steps in that direction. You know, we saw the temple on Lothal and Rebels. We saw the temple. I'm trying to think. There was another one.
But like it seems like every Order 66 survivor is like from Coruscant.
Yeah, no, I can see that as well. Yeah, yeah.
That'd be like if there was like a mass genocide of Catholics, and they were all from the like everyone that you meet that survived is from the Vatican.
Yeah, no. Well, at least I think the point with the Order towards Order 66 is like the idea like that they were like centralizing. I think that was like the whole point of the Jedi is like, you know, obviously they had once upon a time they had outposts even as far as recently as I should have said as the Acolyte. You know, they go to the Jedi outpost on Olega. They have Jedi outposts on all across the galaxy, but the Jedi start shuttering these outposts because they're just not using them anymore because they're focusing too much inward, focusing too much on pleasing the Senate. Yeah, focusing too much on internal affairs, and so that when the Order comes down, other than the Jedi across the galaxy fighting the war, there's really only one place for Anakin and the clones to attack. Yeah, but yeah, this has been a promising start. Obviously, we're gonna see what happens with the. We're going to see what happens with the rest of the series next week and the week after and week after week. I think I'm going to wind this down for now. If anybody wants to join, please join in the next few minutes while we're wrapping up. Eric, in the meantime, you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
They can find me on my channel, Honest Claude, spelled like the, Squirtle King alien. I've done a iceberg video that I put a lot of work into. I've had multiple different guests. I've had Scotty from Bombad Cast, Em from Pink Milk, Brian from Pink Milk, Raven from Boraxium. I've had the 3 original hosts of SSW Network, Nick, Chris, and Pete. So check out anyone that you're interested in. Thank you for letting me speak. And before I start bouncing, can we talk about how fantastically stupid and amazing the holiday special nod was?
Oh, are you talking? Oh, yeah. I had to clock for a moment. You're talking about the video that Neil's family is watching.
Yeah, the Cirque du Soleil light kind of circus dancers.
I was like, I think I was so locked into the episode, but by then that I just it kind of didn't register to me. For some reason, because that was speaking of another reference to a classic vintage Star Wars, that was the teak that was on the shuttle bringing them to and from the pirate station, right? I'm pretty sure that was the teak.
No,
from Battle for Endor. I'm not 100% confident. It could be somewhere else.
I've seen Battle for Endor, and I'm like, that's not teak.
Okay.
I think Teak is coming later. We already got Fuzzball from Captain EO.
We got Fuzzball, which quick plug for friend. Scotty Jiro did a great video essay about Fuzzball on the Bombadcast channel.
Yep.
Go check it out. It's Scotty always puts a lot of research and time into those video essays. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this after show, Star Wars in the Galaxy. Love doing this. We're gonna be back next week, of course, discussing episode 3.
Ooh,
Skeleton Crew.
An idea I posed, like after I was watching that video, is someone that could play Captain EO. I said, The Weeknd. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I heard somebody. Maybe it was you who said that. Yeah. I think that'd be interesting. I'm trying to think of like, he does seem like the perfect person.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
What's the closest thing that we have today to Michael?
Yeah, and it's yeah, and like there's a like if Thundercat wasn't already in Book of Boba Fett, I would maybe throw out his name, but like I feel like we can't do that now. So yeah, I think The Weeknd, like of course the only question is could they get The Weeknd? But they're Star Wars, they could get The Weeknd, I'm sure.
Just throw a bunch of money at him.
Yeah, no, I think I'm sure they could get I'm sure they could get The Weeknd. If these kids, I swear to God, if these kids are in a tight spot and they're saved by Captain freaking EO, and then we make that 16-minute short film canon, that is going to be the funniest thing I've ever seen in the history of ever. That would be very, very funny.
Well, I don't want to keep you up too much. Maybe I'll have you on my channel, but I got work tomorrow, so I'm going to sleep.
No, thanks, Eric. Luckily, I'm on the West Coast, so it's still a little earlier for me. But yeah, no, thanks so much for coming on, Eric. I'll hopefully see you soon. Yeah, see you later.
Zilla gang.
All right, so I'm just gonna wrap this puppy up right here. That's gonna be it for this episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy. This live stream, this after show of Star Wars in a Galaxy. Stay tuned for our In a Galaxy episode next week. Next week, I say. This week, I should have said. What were we posting this week? I believe it's the second Tales of the Jedi episode with special guest Andy from Force Friends. And stay tuned for Epic Confrontations. That's releasing on Thursday. I'm very excited about this show, and I'm very excited to talk about the show with friends like Eric, like others who will come on in future weeks. Yeah, I'll quickly do the plugs. Follow us on Blue Sky and everywhere at In a Galaxy Pod. Blue Sky and Threads. We're no longer on Twitter as of yesterday. We're off Twitter. Follow me at OchiFan327 everywhere. My link tree linktr.ee/_OchiFan327. And I'm trying to think. I think if that's all, may the Force be with you always.